Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and welcome to a special pre-Oscar show. We're going to preview the Oscars. I'm going to tell you who's going to win, who should win, maybe the big upsets, maybe anything. We all go crazy, don't we? I mean, the Oscars are on ABC on Sunday and we're all going to sit at home and curse at the screen and say, what? How could that person have won? That's ridiculous. That can't happen, you know? And that's why you need help. You need help with your pools. I don't want to encourage gambling, but this is the way it is. First category is going to be Best Supporting Actress. Amy Adams in The Master, Sally Field in Lincoln, Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables, Helen Hunt in The Sessions, and Jackie Weaver in Silver Linings Playbook. You know, in these categories, everything usually comes down to a two-person race. We spoke to Sally Field here at Popcorn, and she told us about playing Mary Todd Lincoln in Lincoln. And she had a lot to say about what went into this part and the fact that she and Daniel Day-Lewis were the kind of actors that just, they play the part and they live it 24/7.
I'm in character, so I wouldn't have known whether he was in character or not, because I'm completely Molly, and that's how I work. It's how I've always worked. I studied with Lee Strasberg. I am of that ilk. As much as I can hypnotize myself or force myself into some temporary insanity, that is who I am, both by the research that I'm able to do and every sort of tool and trick that I know of to convince yourself that these shoes and these clothes and this body, because I gained 25 pounds, is yours. That's how I work.
But you know, one thing about Sally Field being in this movie and being great and having the possibility of winning her third Oscar, and they'll like her, they'll really like her if they do that, is this other nominee, and her name is Anne Hathaway, and she's in Les Miserables. And ever since the trailer of Les Miserables came out, and Anne Hathaway sang, "I dreamed a dream, da 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 da," she sang, they gave her the Oscar then. I mean, this is the one award that you can take to the bank. She's only in the movie for like 10 or 15 minutes. Boom, she sings the song, one scene, boom, shaved her hair off, lost 100 pounds, I'm exaggerating, it was more like 15 pounds, did everything the Academy loves to give an award for. So when you have that ballot at home, you check off Anne Hathaway, Les Miserables, and you go home with the prize. All right, next category, Best Supporting Actor, and here are the nominees: Alan Arkin in Argo, Robert De Niro in Silver Linings Playbook, Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Master, Tommy Lee Jones in Lincoln, and Christoph Waltz in Django Unchained. This is the category where anybody could win it. Each one of these guys has already won an Oscar. They're all amazing. Everybody is kind of on equal footing. I mean, what's going on? Nobody understands this. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's my personal favorite in this, the one I think should win this award, did he play in The Master a supporting role? That's the question. He's playing this guy a lot of people believe is based on L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology. Philip Seymour Hoffman has his own feelings about this stuff.
I think it'll be pretty clear when people see it that it's, you know, anyone who's seen L. Ron Hubbard footage or anything, that I'm not even trying to play L. Ron Hubbard at all. In fact, I'm thinking about many other people are actually in my mind, which I don't want to.
There's a little Orson Welles in
There's a little Orson Welles. There's a little, you know, there's like just certain kinds of people that would have that kind of gravitas, really. You know, personality, that kind of ambiance, that kind of aura. You know, and because the film isn't, you know, it's influenced or inspired by probably some events around Scientology, but ultimately it isn't a film about it. And so I didn't want to err on that side because that would have been confusing.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman is indeed playing the Master. So how is that a supporting role? That's why I believe that the Oscar will go to Tommy Lee Jones in Lincoln. His abolitionist Thaddeus Stevens is not Lincoln. You know, we know Daniel Day-Lewis is playing that, and yet he steals it. He's mean, he's vicious, he comes at people all the time, and he's really great. The upset in this category, the upset could be Christoph Waltz in Django Unchained, who I also believe is playing the lead role. Okay, he's not Django, but this guy is terrific in this. He's a bounty hunter. He's running all over the place, shooting people, being hilarious. So I'm no help to you in this. I'm saying it's Tommy Lee Jones, but hell, it could be anybody. Here we go to the category of Best Actress. Jessica Chastain in Zero Dark 30, Jennifer Lawrence in Silver Linings Playbook, Emmanuel Riva in Amour, Quvenzhané Wallis in Beast of the Southern Wild, and Naomi Watts in The Impossible. Now, this has always come down to, is it Jennifer Lawrence, who's 22 years old and already a nominee 2 years ago? I mean, this is amazing. She's the star of The Hunger Games. She's terrific in this movie. And Jessica Chastain playing in Zero Dark 30, a very controversial movie about a CIA agent. Did she exist? Is she based on the real thing? Is this movie pro-torture? She's got all that going for us. But oddly enough, I am really curious when I read these about people saying, why should controversy get into this? Why could Jessica Chastain be penalized for something like this? I don't understand why. I mean, her feelings about Zero Dark 30 and the character she played are clear.
The toughest part about playing Maya is I'm playing a character who's trained to be unemotional and analytically precise. That doesn't mean she is unemotional, because we do have moments where no matter how hard she tries to cover it, it just comes out.
But I'm more interested in that potential upset. I believe the upset happens in the oldest nominee to ever be nominated as Best Actress, and that's Emmanuel Riva, the great French legend who is in Amour, and the youngest one, Quvenzhané Wallis in Beast of the Southern Wild, who was 5 when she made this movie. Oldest, youngest. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, you risk takers out there, forget the Jennifer Lawrence, Jessica Chastain thing, go for Emmanuel Riva. It will be her birthday. She will be 86 on Oscar night. Are you gonna deny her that Oscar? Are you really? Best Actor, Bradley Cooper in Silver Linings Playbook, Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln, Hugh Jackman in Les Miserables, Joaquin Phoenix in The Master, and Denzel Washington in Flight. Everybody will tell you that Daniel Day-Lewis is the winner of this, because he's Daniel Day-Lewis. He's already won 2. Should we give him 3? Why not? He's playing Lincoln. No actor has ever won an Oscar for playing a president before. He became Lincoln, he was inside of Lincoln's head, he did everything, and yet these other actors are incredible. I especially like Joaquin Phoenix in The Master. I think he went really deep into that character and played somebody who's confused and crazy, and there was something happening there that I hadn't seen on screen before. But you know, despite the fact that Daniel Day-Lewis has won every award possible, there's always a chance for an upset, and a lot of people have taken Silver Linings Playbook home with them and loved it. They just said, oh my goodness, I love this movie. Bradley Cooper, playing a guy who suffers from a bipolar disorder, is doing the best work of his career. I mean, this is a guy in Hangover movies and Wedding Crashers doing serious work, which has affected him as well.
I was nervous, Peter. I mean, I was definitely trepidatious about doing this because I had never been asked to do something like this on film, and I knew that David O. Russell is the kind of director where you can't fake it. You have to do it, and you have to do it now, right now.
But if I have to go out there and say this is what you should put on your ballot, go ahead. Daniel Day-Lewis is Lincoln. He played Lincoln during the entire movie. His family saw him as Lincoln. You're gonna see him as Lincoln. I think this one's in the bag. Best Director, Michael Haneke, Amour, Ben Zeitlin, Beast of the Southern Wild, Ang Lee, Life of Pi, Steven Spielberg, Lincoln, and David O. Russell for Silver Linings Playbook. I can hear you, and you're saying, wait a minute, that's it? Those are the 5? What happened to Ben Affleck for Argo? Isn't that supposed to be a big shot movie? What happened to Quentin Tarantino for Django Unchained? Wasn't he supposed to be nominated? And what happened to, of all people, Catherine Bigelow for Zero Dark 30? The first woman in the 80-plus years the Academy is doing to ever win an Oscar for directing, which she did in 2009 for The Hurt Locker. Why are they not there? What happened? Who were these idiots that actually came up with these names and said, we're leaving those 3 out? You know, go figure it out. We can't write in a vote. You can't write in a vote. I would love to write in a vote, but I can't. I think Catherine Bigelow was completely victimized by this fake controversy that said the movie advocated torture. There were a lot of politicians out there, a lot of senators saying, we don't torture, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is all garbage. If they saw the movie, they would realize it doesn't advocate torture at all, but they don't see movies, they just decide they're gonna get into the politics of it. Catherine Bigelow is very clear about what she was trying to do in Zero Dark 30.
Certainly based on our research, that's part of the story. And to have eliminated it would have meant we would have been whitewashing that story. So that's part of the story. As our research showed, it was also not the most significant part, nor was it pivotal. Could we have found, the investigators have found the compound in Abbottabad without it? No one will know. I mean, or perhaps that'll be debated for quite a long time.
But when it comes down to things in the end, when it's the real crux of things, and Ben Affleck cannot get a write-in vote from you or the Academy, even though they should start the campaign right now, the contest comes down to Steven Spielberg for Lincoln, and can he win and the movie not win Best Picture? And Ang Lee for Life of Pi, a movie that is kind of under the radar out there, but that everybody that sees likes. And when you see Life of Pi, you realize it's a director's movie. This is somebody who's a visionary. So it's Spielberg and Ang Lee for your pool. And I'm going to say that the winner is going to be Steven Spielberg. It is their way to honor Lincoln, besides giving it to Daniel Day-Lewis, and they will go with Spielberg for this. But if there's an upset, that upset is going to be Ang Lee. And that means you've got to do some thinking for yourself over here like that. But I think Steven Spielberg. Da 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 da! Here we go. For Best Picture of the Year, the nominees are Amour, Argo, Beast of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained, Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30. I would say when these nominations came out a few months ago, everybody said Lincoln was it. Lincoln got the most nominations, 12. The movie with the most nominations usually wins. And then something really strange happened. These other movies started poking around. I mean, what? Argo came in the fall, people liked it, and then it sort of went away for a while. But what happened? Ben Affleck got snubbed for Best Director. And ever since then, Argo can't stop winning awards. Golden Globes, Producers Guild, SAG Ensemble Acting Awards. I think he could probably win an award from your neighborhood candy store because everybody wants to award him. They want to say this is it. And then there's that little tiny movie, Beasts of the Southern Wild, the one that everybody wonders, how did this get here? I mean, this movie was made for 2 cents in Louisiana with a little girl who had never acted before named Kavanjanae Wallace, and a director, Ben Zeitlin, who has just turned 30. Who are these people? What were they doing? I mean, they've explained it. They've tried to tell you what Beast of the Southern Wild is, and they do it quite eloquently.
I would sort of tell her the story like it was a fairy tale. When I'm telling it to her, I would say, you know, once upon a time there was this little girl named Hush Puppy who lived with her dad on this island called the Bathtub that was cut off from the world by a giant wall, and at the moment that he got sick, suddenly the entire world started to come apart and everything she knew in her town, the end of the world started to happen, and she thought it was all her fault. And then she set out to try to fix it. So I would sort of tell it like it was almost a fairy tale.
But can a movie like Beast of the Southern Wild, so tiny, go up against these giant studio legends? I don't think so. So at home, you have 9, you can take it down to this. Argo, Lincoln, the possibility of Silver Linings Playbook sneaking in, and that's it. Nobody else has a chance to do this. And I think here, Argo is the big winner. I can put my ballots down, I can scream, there's no question about it. By not being nominated for Best Director, Ben Affleck has become the hero of Oscar 2013. He is the man that they're going to carry on their shoulders like a football field and say, we love you, Ben. Is his movie better to me than any of these other movies? Don't think so. Thought it was quite good. Didn't think it was that kind of a movie. But it's the movie everybody is behind. And since it's the movie in which Hollywood itself gets in the game of helping to save these hostages who are captive in Iran. Hollywood comes, they make a fake movie up called Argo. Hollywood loves to congratulate itself. It wants to say, we did it. We affected history. We are the people who are heroes to ourselves. And now the only thing we could do is give it our greatest award, the Oscar. So here I am giving my own rolled up ballot Oscar to Argo. And not only produced and directed by Ben Affleck, but co-produced by George Clooney, who will get to be up there to do that too. How can it lose? It cannot. You heard it here first.